Hello, this is Manesh Patel from Ichimoku Today is January 4th, 2013. This is our weekly Ichimoku analysis for the global stock market. Today we're going to be covering everything from North America to South America to Europe to Asia and so forth. We delayed the video on purpose by a day. Hopefully the markets will pull back. We figured today on Monday in the US time, and we are correct, they did. Reason why is it's kind of getting boring to kind of say the markets are still going up and they haven't really pulled back. So that's kind of why we delayed it over a couple of days. Anyways, to begin, this is our normal disclaimer. This is for educational use only. We're not soliciting you to buy or sell any particular instrument at all. If you do so, you're doing that at your own risk. Today we're going to be basically looking at charts from eSignal, and also TD Ameritrade. Okay, here are my contact details here, info@eiicapital.com. You could email us there or contact us at any of our global office locations here, or you could go to ichimokutrade.com, access our free videos, our heat map, multiple time frame email alerts, and so forth. Okay, so let's go and get started. And we're going to start off with eSignal here. We're going to start off with the German market here. You could see here from the German market, we kind of broke a little above the resistance level of 77.84. They didn't quite make it to 79.46. That's okay. And then we kind of went below there. We're below the little minor support right now, but really, ideally, if we could sit there and come all the way down to about 73.66, that would be a great number for a great pullback. I'm not sure if it's going to pull all the way back, and you're going to see this across all the markets in the US. A drastic pullback would be down here, but there's a lot of minor support levels between right here at about 76.50 and this level here. So again, you can stop in here depending on how strong this trend is right now, but we are at a minor support level right now. The major one's going to be down here at 73.63. Hopefully we could get down there and really find some good opportunities to trade from there. That's Germany. Here's the UK FTSE. Again, this is pulling back too. We ideally want this thing to at least pull back to about 6,100, which is a minor support level. But if it could pull back to 66,000, that's going to be the best level there for the FTSE moving forward. So that's the UK FTSE. Let's go over to Paris. Anyway, Paris again broke for its minor support level at about 70, I'll say 36.75. It held the resistance level of 37.42. Ideally, we kind of want this line to be moving up now to about right there. So we want this support now. The pullback level is about 35.68. That's kind of where we're waiting for price to come down to before we can start looking at some opportunities to go long. Remember, overall trend for most of the global markets is still bullish. So you're just waiting for a pullback because the markets have been very overextended for a while. Amsterdam, you could see, has not even got to its minor support level from, which is about here, a 747. And ideally, you want it to kind of come down to about 337.70, which is its major support moving forward. Spain, if you look at Spain, they're kind of breaking down. It's good. We're looking for this thing to come down to about 7,600 is kind of where we're looking at, and for it to stabilize, which is the major support. But right now, this is in counter trend, and if you look from the daily, this can sit there and change sentiments to be bearish. But overall, the sentiment's still bullish. It's not trending, but it's still bullish as far as a weekly is concerned for Spain. Italy. If you look at Italy, same thing as Spain. It's at a pullback level. This is still stronger than Spain. Spain so far has been the weakest of all the European countries. This is at a major support level right now. If it holds and then starts making a move to 17,847, this does have a potential of starting a major trend, but it's got to hold here. The major support is going to be around 16,000. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens here with Italy. But it is stronger than Spain moving forward. Nordic, You could see not much of a pullback here, broke for that 1130 level, kind of sitting there now to kind of turn that resistance and support. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens. But this is very, very strong. Really hasn't pulled back that much compared to the other European countries that we've seen so far. So that's strong moving forward. So is Oslo here. You can see Oslo here broken for the resistance level of 464.93 and kind of held that support as a support now moving forward. Switzerland, which is one of the main countries that's been strong, you can see it broke for 73.64. It's pulled back to that level now. Ideally, we want this thing to pull back some more. The ideal pullback scenario for this one would be right here at 69.33. However, if it could pull back to about 7,200, that could be good for some small positions moving forward. But Switzerland's still very, very strong moving forward, and it's very overextended. Let's go look at Turkey. If you look at Turkey here, you could see last week it basically pulled back. This week it's actually moving up. It held its support level right around 4,300. So this thing is very, very strong moving forward. The key level on this one's going to be about 4,500. If it can sit there and break 4,500, then this thing's going to continue on to retest the high and possibly can sit there and keep on going higher. If it bounces off 4,500 level, then this thing does have a possibility coming all the way down here to this level here, which is about here, 41.85 moving forward. So it'd be interesting to see exactly what happens with Turkey moving forward, because Switzerland, Turkey, and South Africa have been very, very strong moving forward. Let's go look at South Africa. If you look at South Africa, still very, very strong moving forward. Not much of a pullback here. It definitely needs a pullback. If it could sit there and pull back to about 35,500, that would be a good pullback level, but it hasn't done that yet. Okay. Next is going to be Russia. If you look at Russia here, it's come out here. It's pulled back to about 1608. I have a feeling it's going to break down. Hopefully it could sit there and break down to the next minor support level is going to be about 1570. The major one's going to be right here around 1484. We're kind of hoping this one will pull back to about 1484, and at that point it could be some opportunities to buy because Russia was strong. However, didn't really start a bullish trend because it was going for a cloud. So this does have some upside potential if it could sit there and do some really good pullbacks. That's it for Europe. Let's go over to Australia, start from the bottom and work our way up. Australia here got into a resistance level of 49.15, kind of held that level right now, kind of hovering around there. It does not mean it's broken it or it's crashing down at all. We kind of need to see exactly what's going to happen with price action this week. This is overextended. We definitely looking for a pullback at least to 47.82, but 4,700 will be the great pullback level, which will be a minor one, and then ideally at 45 forward. Okay, that's Australia. Next, we're going to start just moving upwards. Let's go to Malaysia. If you look at Malaysia, really not doing anything at all, just kind of hanging around, just consolidating here. Support level is going to be 1600, and resistance level is going to be 1700. Remember, this had a big long trend last year. And it's kind of sitting there balancing out right now. So it's probably going to enter some type of consolidation pattern if it decides it wants to continue. If not, it'll probably reverse, but it's got to get below this cloud here on the weekly before it to reverse completely at all. Here's Singapore here. Singapore, you could see, has moved up a little here. Kind of held a support right around 5,300. Ideally, we want this thing to kind of come down to about 5,100 before we can start looking at buying. But this is a minor support level that's held. That's pretty good, and it can be something you could look at adding some bullish positions here. But notice overall, most of the markets have been down, but Singapore was up today. Okay, Sensex, Indian Sensex. It's pulling back. It's at a minor support level right now. Ideally, we want this thing to kind of come down to about 18,800. That could be a potential to buy, but we're waiting for that level to kind of be reached. Remember, also seasonally, January and February are down months for the Indian Sensex market, so we're looking for a major pullback to occur, and then this market kind of taking off towards the middle to the end of this year. Let's go next to Japan. If you look at Japan, as you can see, it's kind of blown past this resistance level at 10,979. It's now making its move all the way up to 11,383. It'd be interesting to see exactly what happens when it gets to that level there. Okay. Next will be, let's go for Tokyo. Tokyo here is broken past its level of 933.59, and it's actually making a move higher. So a lot of these countries in Asia are strong. Remember, they can sit there tonight, go down based on what's happened in the U.S. markets and so forth. So these definitely are in need of a pullback. Japan and Tokyo, but they're still going on very, very strong moving forward. Korea, if you look at Korea, nothing really going on here. Kind of held its support right around 257, kind of bouncing around there, but this thing's just consolidating, so there's nothing really going on there. Hong Kong, you could see it's going up. It sat there and broke a resistance level of 23,647, kind of pulled back that level. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens at that level now, moving forward. China, you could see coming out of the cloud now, sentiments be the first time is being bullish. However, this needs a pullback. Ideally, if this thing could sit there and pull back, because it's kind of to about 24.25 or 23.18, that would be a major pullback level. So China right now could be a good counter trend opportunity for people, but just look for that because it is very, very overextended. Okay, let's go over to the Americas. Let's start with Canada. If you look at Canada here, it's strong. It basically bounced off 12,897. It broke for its first support, which was 12,768. Ideally, this thing, we'd like it to pull back to at least 12,600 for us to start looking at opportunities out there. But the ideal pullback level for us would be about 12,500 to start looking at opportunities in Canada. Mexico, still very, very strong moving forward. Not much of a pullback, which is good. So this is definitely one to keep an eye on for the future. Mexico's been moving up very strong. Last year did, and this year is continuing to move up. Brazil, really not doing anything at all. It's about to hit its resistance level of 60,567. So this will be interesting to see exactly what happens there. Colombia, nothing really going on. Went down. Sentiment is bearish. It's getting ready to hit its resistance level of 13,542. Then it'll be interesting to see what happens there. But at that level, it has a high possibility of bouncing off that and starting a trend to the downside. Santiago, Chile. This thing has been going up with vengeance. It's definitely in need of a pullback now. You could see it's trying to make it all the way up here to its resistance level up there. So we definitely need waiting to see exactly what happens at 46 level there. Okay, that was Santiago, Chile, and then we got Argentina here. Sorry about that. Argentina's broken past this resistance level of 34.40, and now it's kind of basically it's bouncing off there and coming up to support right now. Which is 34.40 right now. So this is strong. We need a pullback. Ideally, we need a pullback to about 30.31, which would be the ideal level for that. Okay, so now let's go over to the U.S. market. This looks like one big mess. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on the weekly. This is the E-mini S&P 500 futures. We went above 1,500. Now we're kind of sitting there, bounced off 1,500, 1,503, something like that level, and we're now running the support. We're at a minor support level right now, 1,490, and you could kind of see almost every 20 points there's some support levels that we're going to run into on a pullback level. Ideally, we want this thing to pull back to about 1447, but as this thing keeps on going down every 20 points, we're going to be looking at some positions here because this is still very, very strong bullish. Okay, if you look at the Dow futures, again, it's pulled back to its support level of 13,806. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in the next couple of days. Ideally, we want this to pull back to about 13,500 before we start looking at opportunities there. NASDAQ, which is NQ futures, you could see here, this is a lot of people looking at this as head and shoulder pattern here. It's kind of held its resistance level at 2,745, and now it's trying to make its way to pull back to about 2674. So it'll be interesting to see exactly what happens with NASDAQ there. Russell futures, which registered their all-time high, did a minor pullback right now, but we ideally need this thing to pull back to about 863.70 before we start looking at any opportunities there. Okay. Actually, that's this one. That's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us.